They have indeed been held at 5.25%. If we can go to the graphic, you can see there that they first reached 5.25% back in August 2023. So this is the sixth hold in a row. The Bank of England's Monetary Policy Committee, the 9 economists who decide interest rates, they don't meet every month, they meet 8 months a year. The fact that they have been held, it is disappointing for lots of people who want to remortgage their house. They want to see mortgage rates come down. It's also disappointing, of course, for someone called Rishi Sunak, who is betting. He's bet the ranch, bet the Tories' entire strategy for this election, to the extent they have a strategy, on playing the long game, on waiting for interest rate cuts, on getting more tax cuts in. We've had 2 so far, those national insurance reductions. Tory High Command wants to get another one in before the general election. So I don't think there'll be disappointment in Downing Street, because they knew this was coming. They knew there wasn't being an interest rate cut today. Now, when I take my eyes away from the camera and manage to read, or maybe you guys can read, if we look at the Bank of England minutes of that meeting, there will be hints there, and I suspect the minutes will point to interest rate cuts relatively soon. So the government is likely to cling on to those comments and say, you see, the economy is getting better if you've got borrowings, if you're a hard-pressed family with mortgages. Shadow Chancellor Rachel Reeves, of course, will then say she's already done a sort of a rebuttal that happens before the event. She'll say that ministers are gaslighting the British public on the economy, because if anyone thinks that the economy is getting better, they must be woefully out of touch, wealthy Tories who don't understand the country.
Liam, I'm just reading here that the Monetary Committee, the Monetary Policy Committee, voted by a majority of 7-2 to maintain that bank rate at 5.25%. So quite overwhelming majority there.
It is overwhelming, Emily, and why is it overwhelming? Because we've seen inflation in the last month or so actually go up in the United States, and the Federal Reserve is very important to the Bank of England behind me. It tends to stay pretty much in lockstep with the Federal Reserve, maybe cutting interest rates a bit sooner, maybe cutting interest rates a bit later, but pretty much always in the same direction. So there are fears that inflation could spike. I think the next inflation number, when it comes out later this month, ironically, will be a lot lower than 3.2%, where it currently is. It'll be near the 2% target. It may even go below the 2% target, because this time last year there were changes to energy prices. We've had the reduction in the Ofgem energy price cap that tends to regulate household utility bills. But the general mood on global financial markets is that commodity prices, based on geopolitical risk, are going up. The OPEC energy exporters cartel is keeping oil prices firm, working hand in glove now with non-OPEC member Russia to limit oil supplies to global markets and keep prices high. Even though the Bank of England's Monetary Policy Committee, the 9 economist rate setters, nothing they do impacts global oil markets, of course, but if global oil markets are punchy, petrol prices are going up, diesel prices are going up, transport costs are going up, that pushes up food costs. There's a lot of oil and gas and energy involved in food production, and inflation in the UK starts going up again this summer. Don't shoot the messenger. It could happen. It will be very, very difficult for the Bank of England to do multiple interest rate cuts, because inflation, the Chancellor said it before, and I have to agree with him on this, doesn't generally fall in a straight line. I do think interest rates will be lower than where they currently are by the end of the year, but we may just see 1, maximum 2 cuts before the general election, not the 3 or 4 that Rishi Sunak and his strategists were hoping for.
And Liam, it's worth saying those 2 dissenters of the 9 MPC members, they did vote for a cut. I think I'm right in saying that the last time this happened, there were also 2 who voted for a cut. It's worth saying that UK inflation is now lower than US inflation. Inflation went down by more than was expected in the last announcement. Are we relying too much on the US, or is this simply out of the control of people on our island?
You'll know, Tom, because I know you follow these economic issues very closely. Both of you do. We often talk about economics on your show, don't we? But you'll know that I've been saying for months and months and months that interest rates should be cut. We've already seen the Swiss cut interest rates ahead of the Americans. This morning we saw the Swedish central bank, cut interest rates before the Americans. It's almost as if the Monetary Policy Committee is too timid to do anything until it gets permission from our American cousins. I say that partly in jest, but only partly, because I do think the Bank of England needs more cognitive diversity. I do think they need more people out on the committee who haven't just been appointed by the Treasury, because the Treasury knows that there'll be well-behaved economists spouting conventional wisdoms, rather than being people of serious intellect, of serious grit, who can actually argue the other case. People who should have been arguing on the MPC throughout 2020 and 2021 that the notion that inflation coming out of lockdown would be transitory was complete nonsense. A lot of us said it at the time, but it's what the Americans were saying, so we felt we had to say it too. We have many very, very talented economists in this country. We need more diversity of opinion on the MPC, real diversity, cognitive diversity, the sort of diversity that when it comes to policy making really counts.
Yes, Rachel Reeves didn't seem too interested in that, did she? She didn't appear to see there as being a problem. Can I ask you about something else that's just being in the press, reported in the press today, Liam, while we've got you, economics related, of course. Now, the National Institute of Economic and Social Research, I don't know if you know much about them as an organisation, but they're saying whatever government we have at the next general election, taxes will have to rise. Income tax would have to rise by potentially up to 3% just to fund our public services, and because we've got so much debt. I mean, what would your response be to that sort of idea?
Well, a lot of GB News viewers and listeners will have heard of the IFS, the Institute for Fiscal Studies. They tend to opine on tax issues and, if you like, kind of microeconomic issues, budgetary issues. The National Institute for Economic and Social Research, which is probably the most respected economic think tank in Britain, arguably in Europe. It's been around for many, many, many years. The head of the National Institute is a very independent economist called Jajit Chadha, who is increasingly carving out a reputation as somebody who's prepared to at least question conventional wisdoms. And the National Institute are weighing in, and they are a deeply apolitical organisation. I've been talking to them basically since I was an A-level student. I know the Institute very, very well. For them to say that any party that comes in is going to have to raise taxes, they're not doing that from a kind of ideological point of view. They're not saying that because, you know, they want higher taxes. They're saying that because that's what they see as an economic inevitability, given the fact that growth has been so slow. If the economy doesn't expand, politics gets really nasty and venal, because the cake doesn't get bigger, and when the population's going up at the rate ours is, the cake per head, the slice each individual person gets, actually gets smaller. And that's what we've seen in the UK over the last 2 years. GDP per capita, as we say, the economy, the size of the economy per head has been shrinking. And that's why the public finances are under pressure. That's why there's no sign of a feel-good factor. That's why, the main reason I would say, why the Tories are in a hole.